thank you so much for watching. So let's just address the elephant in the room. Yes, I am wearing a wig. Obviously, they know that. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching. So as you can see, today's look is very different to your usual everyday makeup tutorial. In honour of Pride Month and the LGBTQ community, I thought I would do an inspired look. If you want to know more about Pride Month and the LGBTQ community, then I will leave all the information down below. I thought I would do the typical rainbow eye, which is obviously influenced by the colours of Pride, so I'm sure you could wear this to a festival, that kind of thing, but I just wanted to sit down and have a little play around. And also this was inspired hugely by drag makeup. I kind of wanted to bring out my inner drag queen, so this is kind of like a drag tutorial as well. So if you want to see how I got this look and how I made this drag transformation, then please just keep on watching. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to apply foundation all over my skin. So obviously this is inspired by drag and we all know it is full coverage. And from what I've seen from drag makeup, they always do their skin first. I guess that's just because you can kind of like map out where your contour is and where your eye contour is, and that just helps map out the shape of your eye. So I'm going to go apply my foundation all over and then I'll be back. Okay, so I just had my fan on in the first clip, so I'm really sorry if you can feel it, but it's absolutely baking in here, so I'm going to have to turn it off just in case. So hopefully I don't melt. Okay, so for foundation I use MAC Studio Fix Fluid and Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk on top. It just gives you like the smoothest, most flawless base. So now we're going to move on to concealer, and I'm going to mix, I'm going to do a really light under eye or a really light highlight, because obviously this is inspired by drag makeup, so obviously they are known for their very drastic highlight, because obviously they're giving the illusion of kind of changing their face and giving higher cheekbones, that sort of thing. So what I'm going to do, I am going to take my MAC Full Coverage foundation in the colour White. I'm going to take the same sponge that I used with my foundation, and I am going to dab that underneath the eye and bring it all the way up towards my hairline and also on my cheekbone as well. Middle of the forehead, do a tiny bit down the nose and on the chin, and then also underneath the cheekbone, so the usual highlight areas. And then I'm going to take my normal concealer that I'm using at the moment, nothing special, this is just the Naked Skin concealer, and I'm going to go over the top of that to kind of mix the two together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and blend the rest in now so I don't bore you with the same motion. Okay, so before all of that creases and it melts off my face, I am going to bake, and I'm going to use my La Mer loose powder. You know, drag queens, they typically are performers, so they're going to be under a lot of bright lights, and baking came from the drag queens. They use it to set their makeup and it does not budge. So obviously the longer you leave it, the more solid it's going to be. This powder is expensive and I'm using shitloads of it. So if you don't have a powder puff, just get your cotton pad and just dab that on. Okay, cool. Right, so I'm going to let that bake just until I finish my eyeshadow basically, but I'm going to move on to brows now. Okay, so for my brows I'm actually going to use my normal brow product, which is Coquette by MAC. I didn't actually block out my brows, which most drag queens would do. But yeah, obviously, like, if you want to go really drastic, you can block out your brows. But I just feel like I've got quite a lot of space here anyway. But I am going to do my brows a little bit more drastic than usual. So I'm going to semi-follow the shape, but bring it up a little bit more like towards my hairline and also a little bit more angled. Yeah, let's just see how it goes. Okay, so I have just been working on my brow for about half an hour. So I've gone for a very, very strong brow, but obviously, like I said, this is drag makeup and I want to mimic that kind of drag style. So I've gone a lot more, I've gone a lot darker, a lot stronger. So I basically followed the natural shape, but I've just enhanced it, made it slightly thicker, angled it and brought it slightly longer for the tail. So obviously this is inspired by the drag queens, so I wanted to do like a Pride inspired eye look. So kind of like a rainbow eye. So I don't really know where I'm going with this. Yeah, I think I'm just going to do like a rainbow going all the way around the eye. So I've got a reference to my rainbow here. So I'm going to do like yellow, orange and red on the top. And then the other half I'm going to do like green, blue and purple. I don't know. Let's just see how it goes. So the first thing I'm going to do is zoom you in. So I'm going to grab my Zulu palette and I'm going to go into this yellow here with my Morphe M514 brush. And I'm going to pop that in the inner part of my eye. So just wiggling that in circular motions, focusing that in the inner corner. Okay, so next using the orange from the palette. So I'm going to use that orange in the centre of the eye and just work that back and forth. I'm going to wiggle that kind of towards the end of the brow. So I'm following the shape of my eye and wiggling that in circular motions, using the shape of my eye as my guide. And I know that I want a really winged out shape, so I'm going to start to blend that outwards. So next, using this red shade from Sugar Pill, this is in the colour Love Plus, I am going to blend that into the outer part of my crease. And then with another clean brush, I'm going to use the Morphe M433 brush. And I'm going to blend that into the outer part of my crease in circular motions. Okay, my eye is giving me ag. And then like the orange, I'm going to start to blend that. This brush is a little bit too big, so I'm going to switch to my MAC 217 brush. It's a little bit older, so it is slightly thinner. That's better. This looks pink. And I'm going to blend that into the orange and start to wing that out. So I'm kind of like wiggling it in circular motions and then blending outwards. Out and up, because we don't want it to come down, we want it to go up like that. If I ever lose the intensity, you just want to dab that over the orange area. Like so. Okay, so if you ever feel like you're losing a little bit of your shape, just grab your powder puff or your cotton pad, dip it in your powder and literally just press up against your eyeshadow just to keep that wing. Obviously it won't cut it like really sharp like those kind of looks, which you can do if you want, but I'm not really into that. So that just gives it a slightly softer look, so when you blend it away later on, it's still got that shape but it's soft at the same time. Next I'm going to go in with the purple from the same palette. I'm using that on a Morphe M506 brush, which is a tiny little fluffy blender brush, so it fits right in the outer corner. Popping that in the corner. So whilst I'm looking forward, I'm wiggling it into my crease, turning slightly, and then following the shape of my crease. And so if there is a line continuing up like that, that's what you want to follow. So flicking up like so. You never want to flick down because you want to lift the eye, because I'm going for that kind of that typical winged out look that a lot of drag queens do. Okay, so I'm just going to repeat that a couple times, re-intensify it, and then keep blending it outwards. So yeah, just do that until you're happy with the shape and the intensity of the colour. So with my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer, I'm going to cut the crease to about halfway, and this is in the shade NC15. So once you've got to about halfway, I'm just going to take off any of the excess product on my hand. So keeping your head tilted back, and then I'm going to start to pat that and blend it into the eyeshadow, because you almost want it to kind of blend the product into nothing, into like a really thin layer. So I'm just going to set that in place with the shade White Peach from the Too Faced Peach palette. Oh my god, this smells so freaking good! Okay, so before I get to the end, I am just going to blend a little bit of that red shade and blend the concealer and the eyeshadow together. So I'm just dabbing it on like so, and then I'm going to go back in with the orange and blend those two together. Okay, so I'm looking like Flashback Mary. So I basically just wiped, so let me just turn the fan off. I just wiped away all of my bake, and then I just went over with powder once more just to smooth everything down so everything's like the same texture. So because obviously we've got shitloads of powder on, I'm going to spray a little bit of my makeup setting spray, which is Urban Decay, just to settle down the powders, just because if you do this between like every step, it just makes everything look a lot less powdery basically. So yeah, as I was saying, I look like Flashback Mary. If you don't know where that's from, Google it. So I'm going to now highlight and contour. So I'm going to firstly bronze using my MAC Dark Deepest Bronzer, and I'm going to go ham on this because I'm feeling extremely pale. And we can go a little bit stronger than usual because this is drag makeup, and we all know drag queens are the queens of highlight and contour. So I'm going to bronze around my forehead. I'm going to make sure I keep this bit really light and free of colour because I want that bit to stay really nice and bright. Just make sure you bring that right back into your hairline. Oh my god, it's so hot in the UK at the moment. This is, any sudden movements, I literally break out in a sweat. Like, it's that hot that you just sweat. Oh god. So around my hairline, on the contours, I'm just going to put the fan on whilst I highlight and contour. Oh, that's better. Oh yeah. Okay, so honestly, what's wrong with me? I cannot speak today. So to contour, I'm going to use my Anastasia Beverly Hills Highlight and Contour Kit in the shade Light Medium. And I am going to go and mix these two shades together for my contour. I'm using that on a I'm using that on a Zoeva 105 Luxe highlight brush. And from my hairline, I'm going to bring that down. If you don't mind going strong with this bit, and if you feel like you went too low with your contour, just go back in with your powder and just clean that up. Okay, so I have no idea if that's even, but let's just let that sit for a couple minutes and then we'll brush it off. So just whilst that sits, I'm going to go in with some blusher, and this is in Style by MAC. I thought I'd go for more of an orangey blush to kind of tie in with the eyes. As for highlighter, I'm going to go in with the shade Champagne Pop by BECCA. I'm going to use that on quite a small brush, just so I can place it a little bit more specifically. So I'm going to go right on the top of the cheekbones. Just make sure you blend all those three together so you don't have any stripes going on. To intensify the highlight, I'm going to use the Sleek Summer, oh, it's not summer, it's the Solstice, I can't say that word, it's this palette, and I'm just going to intensify it with an extra of the shades. Just put that on the highest points. Okay, so I've just gone ahead and put a tiny bit of powder underneath just in case I get a little bit of fallout. Okay, so using that same white full coverage foundation, I'm going to create a lower lash line using a MAC 242 brush, and I'm just going to bring that slightly lower on the inner corner. Okay, so I'm firstly going to go in with the same purple shade that we used on the outer corner, and I'm using that on a MAC 212 brush. I'm just going to very lightly work that into my lash line on the outer corner. And then I'm going to connect that to the top. And with a clean 212, I've only got two of these brushes, so I just like wipe them off in between, just so the colours don't mix together. I'm going to go into this MAC shade called Electric Eel. I'm going to blend that kind of on top so they kind of mix together. So you've still got a little bit of the purple shade peeking through. Okay, so I'm just going to clean that off now for my next colour. Now I'm going to go in with this green shade from the palette, which is this one right here. And again, I'm going to blend that on top and a little bit further across the bottom lash line. And I'm just kind of dabbing that up and down. Then go back in with the blue. And again, blend those two together. Okay, so now I'm going to wet the brush and I'm going to pinch it together and go back in with the same green, and like I done on this eye, I'm going to just continue the line across. Rather than up following my eye shape, I'm going to continue it across as it was going towards my nose. Okay, so I can't get them even, but oh well, who cares. So I'm now going to go in with this nice teal shade from the palette and blend that underneath. So I just went ahead and popped on some lashes. So these are in the style Bella by Boss Lashes. I will link them down below. I always wear them on my channel. And yeah, so basically, I know I said this is like a drag look, but I did think if I'd done like, I was going to do a really massive liner and massive lashes, and I felt like it would just completely cover up all this kind of rainbow thing going on. So I decided to go for smaller lashes, but then what I'm going to do is do some bottom lashes just to make it look a little bit more extra. So I've just cut up some old MAC lashes. I'm not sure what ones these are. If I can remember the name, wait, I'll link the number down below because I'll be able to find out which ones they are, because they look quite specific. I just can't remember the number. But I just cut them up into tiny little like lashes. And I'm going to dip that into my Duo Lash Glue. I don't know if I should use my fingers or a tweezer, but I'm just going to look up. Okay, so I'm just using these little gems from the brand Splang. These are on Instagram, so I will link them down below if you want to have a little look. But they basically just sell packs of glitter, little glitter sets with like a colour theme. If you want to know where I got this, be sure to have a little look in the description box below. But I'll definitely be doing more looks with the glitters as well, because I want to do another look using this kind of colour. But yeah, anyways, moving on. So I am dabbing a little bit of lash glue. Dabbing a little bit of lash glue just in between those lashes, and then grabbing one of the smaller gems with some tweezers, like so. You won't always get it right exactly first time. Okay, so I've just lined my lips. I've slightly overdrawn, so I used the lip pencil Boldly Bare. And then for lipstick, I've got the NYX Lingerie liquid lipstick in the shade Cheekies. I went for a darker lip liner to give that kind of ombre effect, so I'm just going to blend the two together. Guys, so that is basically the finished look. I'm going to go put on my wig and I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm not actually blowing the fan because I'm being extra. I'm blowing the fan because I'm sweating my fucking tits off. It's like the hottest day of the year in the UK and I'm wearing a bloody wig down to my waist.